Welcome one and all to the very first video of 2019, or at least here on this channel. Now, just like we did last year, we're going to do a top 18 of 2018. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this. I'll probably go up to like 2020, then I'll do like the 20 of 20, and then I'll just go back to the regular 10. So this is for the Transformers that I've collected this year. I am going to do an actual top 10 of the figures that I've collected, and that includes Star Wars, that includes Marvel, that includes Gundam, so basically anything that's not Transformers. So I've got my list here of 18, and we're gonna get going, starting with a few honorable mentions. So these guys are in no real particular order, they're just guys that almost made the list. They were this close. Cybertron Metroplex. He was so very close to making the list simply because I've wanted him ever since I was a kid, but he just didn't quite get there. He's probably the one who was closest to making the list, but there's no real order to the rest of these guys. X-Transbot's Hatch? I don't know, it's their tailgate. And he would be much higher up on the list if I could transform the damn thing. Thankfully, he shipped to me in bot mode, so, yeah, I haven't even tried. Also a little loose too, but you know what? He fills in that masterpiece tailgate that I really wanted. Same can be said for their pipes. Their pipes is not hard to transform, but he is kind of floppy and a little loose, and I lost his little arm cannon, so now he just pretends to be a Megatron. And finally, on the honorable mentions, we have Power of the Prime's Hot Rod and Cyber Battalion Shockwave. And these guys are on here simply for looking the best that they can. This is probably the best looking Hot Rod that we've gotten in a very long time. The classics looked okay, but there was something that didn't sit right with me. The Titans Return one looked good, but it didn't look like Hot Rod. This one takes the cake. As far as Shockwave goes, I actually prefer this over the Cyberverse Shockwave. I know he's like missing knees, and I know you can get like a Shapeways kit for it, but he fills in a really nice spot until I end up getting a Masterpiece one, so he fills in that slot. Alright, now that we've got the honorable mentions out of the way, let's start at the top at number 18. 18 for the year is G1 Flak, and I love Flak. He was my favorite Micromaster growing up, and I really would like to get the Siege one. I just haven't found him yet. But until then, this one fits in very, very well on my G1 shelf. It's just so nice to have him in my collection again. It's like seeing an old friend after, you know, probably 18 years now. So, G1 Flak, one of my absolute favorite Micromasters. At number 17, representing the Abominus crew, it's good old Bloat. I never expected Bloat to be this good. Who thinks of a good Bloat toy? He turns into like a troll toe. He's just this weird little dude that's part of a combiner that nobody really paid attention to until now. But like, now he's like the breakout star of Power of the Primes, and it's so strange, and I love him, and he's just my favorite combiner limb, I think. He's just right up there with like that Mirage mold for like my favorite combiner limb. So yes, number 17, good old Bloat. Coming in at number 13 is my very first third-party figure at Fan Projects, Tusker. And man, I really wish they had continued with these things. This is like a really good take on like the G1 aesthetic without being G1. It's its own character. He fits in really well on the shelf, and he's supposed to be like a combiner. I haven't been able to get all of the limbs yet, but like, I don't think I really need to, because he's just awesome by himself. He kind of reminds me of that realm between Brain Masters and, you know, Micromasters or Target Masters, where you have the little dude who sits inside of the big dude, and he's just wonderful, and he's very posable, but very G1, and he turns into a friggin' mammoth. Who needs the rest of the team when you've got friggin' Tusker? Oh yeah, and he's got like this really droopy shotgun. It's a sad gun. It's a happy gun. It's an excited gun. G1 Hosehead. Yeah, I love him. He's probably my favorite fire truck transformer, simply because he's kind of different, and he's a headmaster, and I gushed all over him in my review, but I mean, come on now. He's awesome. He's a late G1 toy who's not Inferno, or not meant to be Inferno. He's just really neat. I can't get over how neat he is. He even has like the strength stats and everything. He's a product of his time, and I love him for it. So at number 14, I almost put Power of the Primes Optimus Prime. Almost. But the more I messed with him, the more I realized it's not the Optimus Prime that I like about him, it's the Orion Pax. It is a Sunbow art-designed Orion Pax. Who would have ever thought we would have gotten something like that? I mean, yeah, we got the IDW one that came out a couple of years ago, back in the first wave of Generations, and that was really good. That was a really nice Orion Pax, and then we got the one that came out of the cup mold, but this is Orion Pax. Say what you want about the backpack or the alt mode, this is Orion Pax. He stays on my shelf just like this, because I don't need the Prime armor. I've got Optimus Primes on my shelf for days, but he is my favorite, and he stands on the shelf as just good old, you know, naive Orion Pax who jumped at Megatron that one time and got shot in the face. But yes, Orion Pax, easily one of my favorites. Remember I was saying I already have enough Optimus Primes? Well, I ended up getting another one. This is Hero Optimus Prime from G2. It's like between that weird G1 and G2 era. And he's just cool. You know, this is what I feel like the Titans Return Optimus Prime should have been. Because, like, this would have been a better Optimus Prime design than the one that we got, personally. I think this works really well. I like the alt mode, I like the stupid pump rocket gimmick, and it's just one of those things from G1/G2 that you don't see a lot of, and he's just really, really neat to have. Coming in at number 12 is Studio Series Jazz. So 2018 was basically the year that the movies came back, and Studio Series really kicked ass this year when it came to toys. First we had Blackout in the first wave, and he was amazing, and Grimlock was awesome, and then we got Megatron and Brawl and Optimus, and then we got Jazz, and yeah, he kind of turned me off a little bit when I realized how small he was, but you know what? I don't care. He poses like a champ, he's really fun to pick up and play with, the transformation is really intuitive, and he just looks so much better than that old 2007 boy. He's so good that I want to. Almost making the top 10 is G1 Grapple. Yeah, I had Grapple a very long time ago, and unfortunately he fell to bits. And but Fan was nice enough to hook me up with a G1 Grapple, and I think he's complete. I think the only thing he's missing is like an extra fist. But he's got his gun, he's got his little missile hand, he looks awesome, he's perfect. I love Grapple. Grapple was one of my favorites ever since I was a kid, and just having a G1 makes me smile. Alrighty, entering the top 10 with another childhood favorite, Energon Skyblast. Skyblast was probably one of my favorite toys when I was a kid. You know, Cybertron was coming out, he was my absolute favorite Jetformer. I'm pretty sure I called him Starscream for a long time, or Jetfire, I couldn't remember which one I called him. But sadly I lost him so many years ago. I think I buried him in the dirt playing outside, and I left him there, and he stayed there for a long time, and I could never find him. And then I found this guy at the local toy museum, and he was in the dollar room, so I got him for $1, and it's just so nice to have him back. He's just as good as I remember him. Yeah, he doesn't have that much posability, especially in the head, because he's got the whole cockpit behind there. But it's a 2005 Cybertron Scout. I don't expect it to do too much, and it's purely for nostalgia reasons is why he's on here. Coming in at number 9 is Power of the Prime's Battle Trap. Who would have thought in 2018 we were getting a deluxe size Duocon that is actually really good. Duocons weren't great to begin with. They're nice things to have, but if you think about it, they're not that good of a toy. But god damn, Battle Trap, it just knocks every expectation that I had out of the park. Also, the fact that he's 2 individual characters kind of makes me smile a little bit. Now, I really wish Flywheels would have done the same thing, and I was really hoping to get Flywheels or Skytread before this video, but turns out he'll have to be on 2019's list. At number 8, we have the best baddie that there ever was, G1 Megatron. I always wanted a G1 Megatron. I always wanted a Megatron in my collection that could turn into a gun. And for the longest time, I didn't think I was ever going to get this guy. So I was going after the Legends one, trying to find it, but I never could. And in an unboxing video earlier this year, I got this guy, and he is just fantastic. He's not complete, and unfortunately he is a bit broken, but you know, you could never tell in bot mode unless I specifically told you, hey, he's broken. Obviously he's missing his fusion cannon, but that's something that I can pick up probably in a parts lot or something. So, yeah, G1 Megatron, the guy who I never thought I would ever own. Number 7 is Masterpiece Wheeljack. I didn't think I would like this guy as much as I actually do. You know, he's kind of from that era where carbots were, I think he's one of like the Hasui cars, and he's in that era where they were made to look realistic and they were designed with like car bits on the arms and whatnot, before they actually went full cartoon. And I actually really like that a lot more than I thought I would. I thought I would hate these little bumper things or like the brake lights on the hands, but absolutely not. I love him, and he is my favorite Wheeljack that I have ever owned. Number 6 is another third-party figure, Fans Toys Sea Spray. I never got the hype around Fans Toys. I always heard that they were good, but I never like understood why. Boy, do I understand why. This transformation is friggin' phenomenal. And Sea Spray being my absolute favorite mini-bot of all time, just having him in a Masterpiece-esque form, it just makes my collection so much better. There's probably better versions of him that look a bit more cartoon accurate, like the Ace Toys one. I think it's called like Poseidon or Trident or something. But you know what? I don't care. I have a Sea Spray, and he is one of my favorites, and I love him to death. Entering the top 5 now is RID Scourge. This is probably one of my earliest pickups from 2018, and he still stands here a year later. I mean, the black and teal deco has always been my favorite. I've always loved Scourge from RID. I've always thought he was a really interesting and compelling villain. You know, a backstabbing minion to Megatron who is really only there to kind of try and take his place. Kind of like Starscream, but actually does his plans, and his plans somewhat succeed a little bit. And the fact that he's a dark clone of Optimus Prime that was supposed to be a good guy kind of works for me a whole lot. Plus, I just really love this G2 Optimus Prime mold, which G2 Optimus would have been on this list, but come on, black and teal, you can't beat that. Number 4 then is Fans Project's Kakkar. I never thought I would own a Kakkar figure. I love Victory. I love Transformers Victory. It's one of my favorites. And the fact that Kakkar was so adorable, yet kind of intimidating at the same time, you know, I just really love his character. And I love the fact that this exists. It is a physical representation of Kakkar. And much like the Tusker from earlier, I don't need the rest of the team. I can just appreciate Kakkar for what he is. He's a shy Decepticon, tiny little dude who just turns into a troll monster, and I could not be happier with him. Number 3 goes to probably one of my absolute favorite masterpieces of all time, Masterpiece Inferno. It's just gotta be. He's simply just wonderful. He's probably the most beautiful masterpiece that I own. Some would say he's very bland, and I can see why, but you know, just holding him here in my hand and moving him around a little bit, you know, it's just fun. It's just so fun to do. And look at him. I've already posed him and he looks dynamic enough to be on a shelf. He's just so fun to handle. The transformation is intuitive. The friggin' ladder trick that everybody talks about is real, and it's mind-blowing. Just the fact that Inferno has actually impressed me this much for being a B-list character, there are no words. I can't explain how much I really like this Inferno toy. Number 3. Okay, so some people are gonna be like, why is that your number 2? What could possibly be better than that? Well, number 2 is Masterpiece Optimus Prime. And yes, this is the Year of the Horse version. I got this from a wonderful fan, and he is just all sorts of fantastic. He's missing a couple bits, like he's missing both of his pointer fingers and one of his smokestacks is broken. And I think he's missing his gun too. But his trailer's up on the shelf, and I don't care. I really don't. I could not be happier with this. It's Optimus. It's Optimus Prime. And I know MP44 is coming out, and honestly, I don't need it. I have this guy. I don't even need the right colors. He's just wonderful in his own way, and he's easily my favorite Optimus that I have in my entire collection. So if Optimus is number 2, then what could possibly be number 1? I can tell you right now, it's nothing any of you are expecting. Zeta Toys Flyfire. Now I know a lot of you are probably like, oh, why that one? That's not even the best Zeta Toys release. It is, for me anyways. Firefly was my very first Scramble City figure. I had Sea Spray, and then I got Firefly. I keep wanting to call him Flyfire. To have just both of these in a masterpiece scale, you have no idea how happy this makes me. I really love what Zeta Toys is doing. I love how the transformation on this works. It's so intricate, yet really simple, and I can sit there and do it in like 3 minutes. Go from robot to arm to jet, and then back to robot. It's so nice. The posability is absolutely wonderful. The paint is great. I love the head sculpt. Everything about this guy is exactly what I wanted from a masterpiece Firefly. And just knowing that they're doing the rest of the aerial bots like this, I could not be more excited. Now, I've heard that the Air Raid is better, but you know what? I never owned an Air Raid. I don't have nostalgia for Air Raid. I have nostalgia for Firefly. And that is why Firefly, or Zeta Toys Flyfire, is my number 1 bot of the year. The transformation's fun, he looks like perfection, and he is easily the best pickup that I had of 2018. And that, everybody, is my top 18 Transformers of 2018. I hope to see you all in the next video, and I hope to see you all in the year 2019. But until then, bye-bye.